So the seizures have been getting worse?
Yes. With my powers drained, I can barely command my own warriors. The Lich King warned me that if I didn't reach Northrend soon, all could be lost.
Fear not, my king. Everything has been prepared for your departure. The ships are waiting at the coast, and
There's been a change of plans, King Arthas. You're not going anywhere.
assassins! It's a trap!
You should never have returned, human. Weakened as you are, we have assumed control over the majority of your warriors. It seems your reign was short-lived.
There are too many of them, my king. Flee! Escape from the city! I'll find my own way out and meet you in the wilderness.
All right, Lich. Good luck. What is it now? Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last.
Our master Kel'Thuzad sent us to aid you. Our new skeletal mages will make short work of the rebels.
Very good. We'll need to move quickly and find any others still loyal to me. We're going to need all the support we can get. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. Now, Frostmourne. At last. This is more like it. Finally. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. I have need of your abilities, little shade. Will you help me?
I live only to serve you, King Arthas.
Our forces are under attack.
Finally. For the Lich King. I'll make sure you suffer. This is more like it. At last. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. At last. No one orders me around. What is it now? No one orders me around. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. For the Lich King. Finally. I'll make sure you suffer. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Tread lightly.
The restless dead await.
Speak, fool. At last.
I have need of you warriors. Come with me.
This is more like it. Finally. At last.
The Dreadlord's guards are stationed outside that armory.
If we can fight our way past them, we could commandeer the meat wagons held inside. Hungers. This is more like it. Finally. What is it now?
I call upon your loyalty.
Will you serve me? Finally, some firepower. These will help us with the main gate's defenses. I'll make sure you suffer. You will know endless torment. At last.
Our forces are under attack.
Speak, fool. Now. Finally. I'll make sure you suffer. For the Lich King. Faithless coward. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Finally. At last. What is it now? No one is around. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers. This is what finally. What is it now? Speak, fool. Tread lightly. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
Our forces are under attack.
Faithless coward. Your pain shall be legendary. Faithless coward. This is more like it. last. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. Finally.
Faithless coward.
Frostborn hungers. Finally.
Inventory is full.
This is more like it. Finally. At last.
Your pain shall be legendary.
Now, Frostborn.
Your pain shall be legendary.
Frostborn hungers. For the Lich King.
Your pain shall be legendary.
At last. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Frostborn hungers.
I'll make sure you suffer.
Finally. Frostborn hungers. Speak, fool. Finally. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Finally. At last. Now, Frostborn. For the Lich King.
I'll make sure you suffer.
Frostborn hungers. Finally.
By Nerub. The rebels nearly had us, King Arthas.
I would not leave my subjects to be slaughtered by this rabble.
Then we shall stand by you till the end.
This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it.
You will know endless torment.
Finally. Now, Frostborn. At last. Finally. At last. Frostborn hungers. At last. This is more like it. At last. Finally. At last.
Our forces are under attack.
This is more like it. Finally. At last.
forces are under attack.
Frostmourne hungers. Faithless coward. I'll make sure you suffer. This is more like it.
Our forces are under attack.
Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. At last. These piles of corpses will serve us well. We can reanimate the bodies and bolster our forces as we move. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. For the Lich King. What is it now? Your pain shall be legendary. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Faithless coward. Frostmourne hungers.
Inventory is full.
At last. This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. Finally. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. What is it now? Frostmourne hungers. You there! Will you not stand by your king? Faithless coward. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. You will know endless torment. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Tread lightly. Speak, fool. No one has me around. At last. Finally.
Our forces are under attack.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. For the Lich King. You will know endless torment. Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. At last. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. At last. I'll make sure you suffer. Faithless coward. Frostborn hungers. At last. Frostborn hungers. Tread lightly. At last. What is it now?
What does the shadow will? This better be good. What does the shadow will?
Tread lightly.
You ran. Time is now.
This better be intriguing.
Proceed. By Nerub.
What is it now? Finally. No one orders me around. Frostborn hungers. At last. This is more. Now, Frostborn. At last. Your pain shall be legendary. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostborn hungers. At last. Finally. Speak, fool. This is more like it. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Finally. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. Faithless coward. You will know endless torment. Your pain shall be legendary. Finally. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. I'll make sure you suffer. Now, Frostborn. At last. Frostborn hungers. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. At last. Frostborn hungers. last. This is more like it.
Our forces are under attack.
Tread lightly. Speak, fool. At last. Your pain shall be legendary. Faithless coward. What is it now? Your pain shall be legendary. Frostborn hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. At last. Frostborn hungers. Finally. You will know endless torment. For the Lich King. At last. This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Finally. I'll make sure you suffer. At last. This is more like it. Finally. Frostborn hungers. Finally. Frostborn hungers. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. Frostborn hungers. Finally. No one orders me around. At last. Finally. For the Lich King. You will know endless torment. Your pain shall be legendary. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. This is more like it. Frostborn hungers. Faithless coward. Finally. Your pain shall be legendary. For the Lich King. Now, Frostborn. At last. This is more like it.
Small King Norskin. Slay, rend, feast.
This is more like it. At last. This is more like it. Speak, fool. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. Finally. This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. Faithless coward. Finally. Tread lightly. What is it now? No one orders me around. Tread lightly. Speak, fool. You will know endless torment. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers.
What we dread and tear.
We have no time for this. We must find our way out quickly. You have my thanks, ladies. But where is your mistress? Where is Sylvanas?
She sent us to find you, great king. We've come to escort you across the river. Once we cross it, we'll take refuge in the wilderness.